Hey, chances are you hate managing your sales team, and here's why, and here's how you fix it. Look, I've worked with over 400 agencies in both USA and Canada, and for the most part, no one wants to do the dirty work to lead and manage producers. And for years, we've used the words leader and manager interchangeably, but they're not the same. And clearly understanding the difference could be the single most important key to you unlocking sustainable growth in your agency. Look, in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you the critical difference between sales management and sales leadership and why you absolutely need both. And I'm going to give you a simple, actionable framework to turn your team into a true growth engine. So let's get into it. Hi there, I'm Schwantz, and welcome to the Bignition channel, the home of the triple threat solution, sales training, sales CRM, and sales management platform, all in one integrated system. So think of it like this. Management is the science of sales and leadership is the art. And to make this crystal clear, let's look at two real world VPs. I got Joe, he's a great manager, and I got Alex, he's a great leader. But don't think for a moment that they could do each other's job, at least not very well. Why? Because they have natural instincts. And we're going to illustrate that difference. So first, let's talk about sales management. It's about the mechanics, it's about the system, it's about control. It's asking, how are we going to get this done and when are we going to do it? It's driving the process. So here we have Joe. His instincts are to get the details right. He naturally organizes information, he sets priorities, he defines objectives. Results show he is brilliant at creating strategies and tactics, but here's the key thing. His instinct is to stabilize and minimize risk. He protects the status quo because that's where efficiency lives. He builds the machine and keeps the machine running perfectly. Managers like Joe push for results by managing the work. It's absolutely essential if you want to grow. And without it, chances are you have chaos. But that's only half the equation. So let's talk about sales leadership. Sales leadership is about influence, vision, people. It's asking, what are we going to do and why? So we have Alex. His instincts are completely different than Joe's. Alex is a natural innovator who thrives on uncertainty. His profile shows that he initiates change. He likes change. He likes to improvise solutions, brainstorm possibilities, pull it right out of his head. He's not a detail guy though. He's a vision guy. And in this assessment, it literally says he leads the way to visionary possibilities and creates what others said couldn't be done. And so chances are that's you. Leaders like Alex don't protect the status quo, they challenge it. They pull people forward by inspiring them. So you see, Joe, the manager, focuses on systems, Alex, the leader, on people. Joe maintains, Alex develops, Joe controls risk, Alex inspires taking risk. One pushes and the other pulls. So let's kind of talk about contrast them here a little bit. A great sales manager, what's their core focus? To manage performance, focuses on how. A great sales leader, what's their core focus? To develop potential. It focuses on the why. Here's why we ought to do this. Here's the potential out there. I think right now, Ben and Jamie, two clients of mine, Jamie has aspirations to build a $100 million agency. He's at $10 million now. 10 years ago, he's at $300,000. He'll do it. He's hiring people like crazy. Ben's same way. 8 years ago, Ben was at $3.5 million, and now he's at $27 million. And I asked him, he said he wants to get to 50 and then maybe 100. I said, why? He said, because we can. So when you start thinking about great sales managers, cognitively is how they think. A great sales manager is very tactical, understands reps, how they think about specific deals, customer beliefs, they work on execution. A sales leader is more strategic. They understand the team's core beliefs, what they're all about, what the market's perspective is, and then they work to shape that vision. A sales manager, kind of from an emotional state, is kind of reactive empathy. They manage day-to-day morale to maintain productivity and try to overcome emotional slumps. Where leaders are proactive culture building. They're talking about the culture. So things like they cultivate long-term psychological safety to where it feels good to be here and an emotional connection to the work. Here's why we do this. And then a good sales manager, when we think of cognitive, that is like instinctual, willpower, discipline. They focus on extrinsic motivation, identifying uses immediate drivers like commission dollars, bonuses, and winning contests. Where a leader, cognitively, is going to focus on intrinsic motivation. They're trying to uncover and align work with the personal drives and how it feels, mastery and purpose, and career aspirations, where this is going to take. And the manager is going to focus on the present, this quarter, current deals, what's going on now. The leader's gonna be focused on the next year and the future careers. So what happens when you get this balance wrong? Well, you create one of two predictable failure modes. First, if you only have management, you have a Joe-only team, and that leads to stagnation. The machine runs perfectly, but it never goes any faster or in a new direction. And the team feels like cogs in a wheel. They feel robotic. I mean, there's no passion, there's no innovation. And if you're not careful, your best people, the ones that you want to multiply, I mean, they get up and leave. But the opposite's just as dangerous. An Alex-only team leads to inspired failure. You have a highly motivated team that loves the vision, but there's no process. The CRM is a mess. The forecast is a fantasy. Deals slip through the cracks on a constant basis. Enthusiasm is great, but it doesn't pay the bills. So how do we get it right? Well, you stop thinking of them as separate roles and start thinking of them as two parts in the same engine. Let's go back to our VIPs. Joe, the manager. That's the mechanics of the engine. His instincts are to build the systems, organize information, and ensure the process runs smoothly and efficiently. But Alex, he's the leader. He's the fuel and the destination. His instinct is to innovate, to challenge, to figure out how to go do things better. Why are we doing that? That's a piece of crap. And he wants to paint a picture of the future that gets everyone excited and start the engine in the first place. So when you combine these two, Joe's science and Alex's art, you got the push and the pull. You don't just have a functional team, you have a high performance growth engine, an inspired team that executes with precision. So if you have the ability to be a strong integrated leader, you know when to be Joe and when to be Alex. You know, you run pipeline review to check the numbers, that's Joe, but also use it as a coaching session to find skill gaps, that's Alex. Track call volume, that's Joe. Connect the activity to the producer team's larger mission and vision, that's Alex. And it's not about doing more work, it's about doing the same work with a different integrated mindset. So here's the point, this does not happen by accident. The best leaders are intentional about how they spend their time. They design their week to balance both roles. But if you're a sales leader in a small to mid-sized insurance agency, you probably don't enjoy sales management at all. Then why would you? You're not wired for it. I've seen you. And now is the best time to quit pretending that you are, because every Joe needs an Alex and every Alex needs a Joe. So let's compound the problem. You probably bought into this fact that this is not your thing. So instead of thinking through it and putting Joe in the right spot, you put a clone, a great salesperson in that spot. And they too hate it. They just can't admit it out loud because they wouldn't be considered a team player. But it gets worse. Your clone is not getting paid to do this additional job, at least not in most cases. So they act motivated, but they aren't. All you gotta do is look at their calendar, and their management skills are weak. That's why they're a great producer, not an account manager. And the agency is really no better off. The only good thing that happened is you got this duty off your plate and onto someone else's. So I'm gonna show you how to fix it right now. Let's look at these two things. Sales manager manages the work, sales leader leads the people. And so these are two profiles. And the one on the right under sales leader is me. So I intimately know this one. The one on the other side is a client of mine named Joe. Now here's what's interesting. Joe's shop was deep into its second generation. It was well over 40 years old and it had an $8 million valuation. So it took 40 years to get to $8 million valuation. I brought them a system and a process, and because of who he is and his ability to do the management work, he helped take that agency value from 8 million to 20 million in 4 years. It took him 40 years to get to 8. It took him 4 years to grow it 2.5 times. It's an amazing story, and he gets all the credit because he did the management work. And so I want to come down and start to look at the difference between leaders and managers. When you look at these two profiles, Joe is strong on fact finder, so he's going to get the information. Joe is a 6 out of 10 on follow through, so he's going to do the work. Joe is only 1 out of 10 on quick start, so he's going to stay true to the system. He's not going to have to go innovate it and go crazy. And then as the implementer, this fourth box is if things not right, he'll move things around, get the furniture, put the boards on the wall, do whatever he has to do. That's Joe. Follow through, stay with the system and go. On the other side, that's me. Fact finder, I love to learn. Follow through, I can start a lot of projects and never finish. Quick start, man, I got ideas out the gazooza. I always want to go chase something. So therefore, finishing things is really hard. And over in this fourth deal called implementer, Like if something's wrong, I can envision what it ought to be like, but I'm probably not going to go do it. Difference between sales leader and a manager. Difference between manager and leader, right? Hopefully you're getting that. So you need good managers. And one of the biggest fallacies I see in almost every insurance agency throughout North America, at least that I've dealt with or that's been attracted to who we are, we've got people with the leadership talent, the entrepreneur, that kind of stuff, but they really struggle with the management part. And so when they do, no matter what system you put in, it's going to struggle. And that's why this is so important for you to understand this, because once you understand this, all you got to do is go recruit somebody internally or externally, but in many cases internally, and it doesn't have to be a producer that fits this profile. They can help you drive the process. Okay, so what happens here? Manager, pipeline reviews. Leader, communicates the why behind the growth targets. Manager, enforces CRM hygiene and process, which is a huge problem in almost every agency. Leaders are frustrated out of their gourds because they don't know what the hell is going on in their own agency. Why? Because there is no management with producers because of the one or two reasons we're talking about right now. Nobody wants to do that job, or you're afraid, you've kind of got this thing, well, producers are doing it. So anyway, whatever it is for you, but most leaders are frustrated because they don't know what's going on. CRMs aren't used. The reports suck, garbage in, garbage out, blah, blah, blah. Good manager would fix that. Leaders, they coach on mindset, resilience, overcoming barriers, jumping over food, go do it. You can do it. You can do it. Managers, track activity metrics, dials, conversations, appointments, close ratios, average size account, all that stuff. Leaders, they just want to foster a culture of winning. Managers, tactical deal coaching. Let's go figure out how to get this thing done. Leaders kind of develop future leaders within the team. Hey, you can do this. You can do this. Go be it. Managers ensure forecast accuracy. Okay, here it is. This is real. Let's get into it. Let's get into the details, make sure it's right. Leaders are trying to connect a person's goal, individual's goals to the company vision so they become one and the same. Managers refine goals, growth plans, get real. Leaders are just trying to inspire discretionary effort and ownership. And so here's what Joe took that doubled their value by 250% in 4 years. Number one, we gave them a playbook for salespeople, which they didn't have. They had some ideas on selling. They had some ideas on prospecting, but they had no real system to be able to train producers on a consistent and steady basis. Secondly, we gave them a leader and manager playbook. These 5 steps, and the 2 things integrate. So now we had those 2 things working together with each other. Playbook for producers. Now my managers and leaders both knew what they needed to force and reinforce. The leader became the spiritual guy. The manager became the operations guy. And you're gonna make some remarkable things happen. So what would it look like for you if you had the right internal partner? Chances are, if you're watching this far, it's not working for you. So if you had the right internal partner to do the opposite piece, if you're a great leader, then have the manager. If you're a great manager, have the leader. In most cases, the big problem is not leadership, it's management. So what would happen is you have somebody run your Monday morning meeting. That's the Joe hat. That's management. Run your pipeline meetings, go deep, get real, check the forecast, make sure it's right, get into the details, what's going on. Ensure the system is stable, its plan is clear, it's running. And then on Wednesday, you, the leader, Alex, you have your one-on-ones. You're asking people not just what deals you're closing, but you're saying, what skills are you building? What's blocking you? How can I help you grow and innovate, get better? Because that's what I want to see you do. I want to see you be able to maximize your potential, right? And then your Friday afternoon meetings for leadership. You celebrate the week's wins, both the closed deals and the great behaviors. You reinforce that vision, where you're trying to go. You get the team all energized. You have some beers, do whatever, right? Friday afternoon, that's for leadership. So it's about knowing when to be Joe and when to be Alex. Call it situational leadership if you want. That's the key. If you're good at being Alex but bad at being Joe, then go recruit a Joe using that profile I just showed you so that you know that they've got those things in place. It's natural for them to want to follow through with that. If you're a good Joe, good manager, but the environment's dead, you got to get some spiritual leadership in there. So then you go find somebody that's got that juice, that quick start. All right, so maybe it sounds good in theory, but how do you get started? Well, what I want you to do is, number one, go to Colby.com. I mean, Kathy Colby's been doing this for years. Her father was in this business. She made a great business out of understanding this part of your personality. There's 3 parts: cognitive, how you think; emotional, and then the third is the cognitive. You can look it up if you want. Test yourself and go test 2 or 3 other people in the management team and go, okay, see if you can find somebody else to come in and jump in this role with you. And look, to be a great sales manager, you don't have to be a great salesperson. I've proven that. in many cases. So create a simple 30-day plan, commit to improving either your management skill or your leadership skill, or go find somebody in there to go work with you to go get it done. From a management focus, your Joe tasks could be that you're going to just run your pipeline reviews with greater agenda and get into real action items. If you've seen any of my stuff, you know I make fun of sales meetings. I hate pipeline review meetings as a general rule. I call them spreadsheet liars club meetings. I'll teach you how to run what I call a crisp sales meeting to replace spreadsheet liars pipeline club meetings, to where you're really helping producers think and go win business, not just look at what's in the pipeline and quote it. As a Joe task, management task, you get into crisp sales meetings or pipeline if that's still what you're into, or you can ensure that everything's updated in the CRM because it needs to be. And then you pick one and you get really clear and you create accountability. And then for your leadership focus, now you play an Alex. It could be that you just start every team meeting by connecting the goals to the company mission, or you publicly praise one person for demonstrating a core value that that they've shown throughout the day. And hopefully that will inspire and motivate other people. Just one of each, that's it. That's your start. Look, the difference between a good sales team and a great one isn't a secret playbook or some sort of magic bullet. It's a leader who understands that their job is to lead producers, inspire them, and then also to manage the work, lead the people to get the work done, or go get a team. But that's the difference between great sales teams and poor. And we've seen them. I go back to Jamie, think about Ben, I think about Diane, I think about James. These are people that have all evolved and built teams that are become real high performers, and you can too. So when you blend the science of management with the art of leadership, you stop being a boss and you start being a force multiplier. You build a team that's not only hits their targets, but could shatter them. You have the ability to build a true growth engine. So look, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video on sales leadership. And now, your final piece of homework. Drop a comment below with the one leadership behavior you're committing to for the next 30 days. I want to see what you're working on. Thanks for watching. Now go lead your team.